Hi, my dear Astro family. I'm here to speak about Mercury in Capricorn, because Mercury has just entered the sign of Capricorn, will remain there till about 5th of January. And I thought maybe we want to learn a little bit more about Mercury in Capricorn, because Mercury is the planet of learning. So we definitely want to be looking at what type of karmic things we might need to learn about in the next couple of weeks. Now, also, Capricorn is a very intense sign for us with that Pluto-Venus conjunction, Venus going retrograde in that sign, remaining there for 4 months. So surely some of the Capricornian traits needs to be learned or understood, which is very Mercurian. And by the way, I am going to be holding a webinar about Venus in retrograde periods. One of the reasons why I really wanted to make a webinar about that was because we tend to be thinking about, oh, we shouldn't be getting married, you know, we shouldn't have a haircut and all those type of things. But there is so much more to Venus than just not having a haircut. Because Venus is something which is making a conjunction every year to the sun, and every 8 years that conjunction repeats a couple of degrees away from the previous one. Every 4 years we're going to be having a conjunction between Sun and Venus in the very same sign, but once it is retrograde and once it is actually in direct motion. So Venus has got this flower pattern making a retrograde in the very same sign every 8 years. But why is so fascinating is because every 250 years, these are going to be shifting. And next year we have got a shift. In October, the very first time when Venus and Sun conjunction will be taking place in the sign of Libra rather than in Scorpio. And that's going to be actually marking a good 120 years ahead of us. So I will be explaining how to look at that. And also this Venus retrograde is kind of like a cycle of your love life as well, especially if it triggers your natal chart. So I really recommend tuning in. It's going to be on Saturday at 4 p.m. Sofia, Bulgaria time. But let's start with Mercury in Capricorn. So when Mercury enters Capricorn, Mercury becomes quite practical. Our thought patterns are going to kind of be grounded a little bit, down to earth. Our ideas become a lot more idealistic. So it's not like, you know, I'm dreaming to be prince or princess, you know, but I just want something which is real overall. Our communication skills can become a lot clearer because Mercury is something to do with the way we actually analyze or the way we negotiate with others or the way we actually communicate with other people. So Mercury is the planet which rules over your mind, influences the way we think or speak about certain things. And because Capricorn is one of those conservative, traditional signs, Mercury's transit could indicate that we're going to be a lot more rational, or we're going to want to be a kind of a structure. We become a little bit more methodical overall. And when it comes to interactions overall. Mercury had such an exciting time, probably in the sign of Sagittarius, which was all about expansion. We could have had plenty of ideas overall. This time around, what happens in the sign of Capricorn is that we're going to become a little bit more minimalist overall. We're going to be looking at what benefits us and what doesn't benefit us. It's about timing. Capricorn, Saturnian energy is all about the load of time, the load of karma. So it's about, I'm going to be scheduling the appointments, I'm going to be turning up for those appointments on time, and so forth. Now, also why I find it interesting is that Mercury in Capricorn usually happens around New Year's Eve, or this time around, at least it happens around New Year's Eve. So it's a brilliant time to actually ground our New Year's Eve resolutions. And maybe we're going to start thinking about, okay, what are my goals for the next 1 year? And I think because Capricorn is very real, it can help us to keep those promises to ourselves. Capricorn is very much about kind of like the business sign of the 12 signs. So it operates on efficiency and it is success orientated. So our Mercury is going to be quite like, how can I achieve success? What can I do to accomplish something? And it really depends on the house position where your Capricorn is. So maybe if it's in the second house, how am I going to be actually achieving financial freedom in one way or another? Or maybe it's in the seventh house, then maybe my goals around relationships are going to be a lot more realistic. So clear thought patterns is one of the biggest message what Mercury tells us in the sign of Capricorn. Also, Capricorn is like construction work. It likes building. So it's like a step-by-step guide, building on our ideas overall. Organizing skills, surely it's like putting a puzzle together, and then I'm going to be paying attention to every single piece overall. This is more of a straightforward type of energy. We are aware of everything what we do, the tone, the body language, when we actually interact with others. And we might be looking at more the intentions of others as well in a more practical way. I think it could also indicate a very strong work ethic, or someone who just wants to be reliable. They don't want to be actually damaging their reputation. So therefore, this Mercury is more of a calm and collected type of style when it interacts with others. Probably this Mercury is definitely talking about quality rather than quantity. So it is about high standards. And how am I going to be able to maintain that high standard overall? Now, the downfall of Mercury in Capricorn, that sometimes we can be pessimistic, or we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because even though technically speaking, this is an improvement for Mercury, it came out of a detriment position and it went into a sign when actually Mercury has the type of strength, some type of strength, especially the first 7 degrees of the sign. But Mercury is kind of like a toddler and Capricorn is a wise person. So overall, Mercury has got some type of issues here still. Think about a toddler, right? They are not going to be understanding what business is. They're not going to be able to actually learn about patience. They want that chocolate right now, right here and there, right? So imagine going to the shop and then your 2-3-year-old little baby wants a chocolate. They want to take off the shelf. They want to eat it immediately. And they don't understand that they have to pay for it first. Okay. So Mercury definitely needs to learn some type of patience here overall. So I think one of the lessons with Mercury is that understanding that you don't have all the answers. It's about, yes, learning integrity, learning to be responsible for things, and being able to ask questions when it's actually something which is actually bothering you. Maybe this Mercury should be able to listen to older people or wiser people's opinions overall, because they've got more experiences. Maybe they are able to see more of the shades of different type of colors, right? And sometimes Capricorn goes a little bit black and whitish. That's more like a Scorpio. Capricorn is more on the black and gray type of area. But those have got different type of shadows also. So Mercury does need to learn to kind of have an open mind here still, because Capricorn is something to do with rock solid, something to do with a little bit of a pessimism. It's not that broad-minded overall. Actually, it can be close to any type of thoughts or ideas. And maybe it's easy to miss kind of some type of potentials overall. You might be thinking about businesses quite a lot. Okay, how can I do a business? Definitely, you're going to be thinking about your long-term goals a lot more. Actually, Mercury represents anything to do with busyness. So it's very possible that certain type of shops are going to be very busy. Maybe, with Capricorn, antique shops or something to do with overall, just the businesses can be very busy. You might be having some depressed thoughts, and especially if you have got inclinations towards depression, you might, and it could be coming from feeling lonely. Remember, we've got Venus and Pluto there too. So, which is all about the intense love. So I really want to love. I really don't understand my partner's motives. So Mercury is here to kind of rationalize those a little bit. So definitely there is a huge focus on relationship department as well. This Mercury might want to belong, wants to get married, and all those type of things it starts thinking about. Those who have got a little bit more of a scrutinizing eyes, they might start asking, what is wrong with me? Why am I not attracting those type of businesses, business partners, relationships, and so forth? Now, of course, Mercury also talks about short distance travels. And Capricorn is something to do with the borders and the government. So it's very possible that somehow travel is going to get restricted again, unfortunately. Or Mercury talks about transportation, and Capricorn has got those organization skills. So maybe you will be seeing roadblocks, or you're going to be kind of seeing rerouting on the roads. That's actually very possible. Even, unfortunately, maybe be careful on the roads, because I can imagine that the traffic light is not going to be working overall. Maybe from a communicational point of view, you're going to want to be called something, because it's all about maintaining the social hierarchy level somehow. Maybe your conversations are going to be more about serious topics overall. Or let me just put it this way. Unfortunately, Mercury is the planet of trickster. So it's very possible that the government is going to come up with some type of tricks to actually lure us into some type of restrictions. Our mind can be quite restrictive. Mercury actually represents thieves. So it's very possible that thieves are going to be appearing in shops and businesses, or thieves are going to be somehow highlighted in the political world as well. Also, Mercury is in charge of translation, and Capricorn is something to do with ancient wisdom. So it's very possible that we're going to find an ancient textbook, and then we're going to actually translate those. Mercury and Capricorn could talk about learning about harsh reality as well. But definitely Mercury in Capricorn is that teacher, professor type. So it's very good to become, for instance, a history teacher. Maybe we're going to see some type of double standards, because Mercury, as I said, is about tricks, and Capricorn is about rules, and Mercury rules anything to do with gymnasiums, stadiums. So we might see that stadiums can be open, and I don't know, a business cannot be open, and it doesn't necessarily make any type of sense. Mercury is the god of winds. So in the sign of Capricorn, which is very cool, cold energy. So it could be it can be possible to have very cold winds coming around this time of the year. Or Mercury represents the messages. So maybe some serious message will come through, or maybe an announcement around certain type of things. It is actually possible that a business or businesses will somehow merge. Mercury rules over negotiations, as well as something to do with business contacts overall. And Capricorn is something to do with businesses, right? So it might be possible that I'm going to be selling a business, or I'm going to be merging with someone else. It's very possible that we're going to be speaking a little bit slower. Because Capricorn, yes, it's all about slowly but surely. So we want that message to come across as much as possible. Mercury actually rules over your siblings. So you can potentially have a little bit of an argument with your older siblings. or you're going to just spend a lot more time with your older siblings. So as I said, Mercury rules over like cars and transportation. Actually, he is the god of in-between that represents somehow the doorways. So that's where the border is actually coming into the picture. So crossing borders, for instance, with cars or with ships or something like that, actually very possible that there is going to be regulations. But plenty of people don't know, but Mercury actually rules over dreams also. Now, Mercury has got a planetary joy in the first house, which is actually the in-between, right? So kind of like the reality, first house, and the 12th house, which is all about the subconscious matters, your dreams overall. And Mercury is a planet. The reason why it enjoys being in the first house is because somehow it's delivers the messages between the gods and the humankind. So that's something to do between your intuition and your realistic thought patterns overall. So you might be having actually some very serious dreams, which needs to be actually looked at. Maybe actually Mercury can represent courses. So you might take some of your courses a lot more seriously, or maybe if you are waiting for someone to send you money, the money got sent over, but maybe it's going to be quite a slow transaction. You might need to wait a little bit longer for that. Now, Mercury actually is the magician card in Tarot, so which is actually talking about infinity. Mercury is actually representing the P number, which is 3.14, and it's kind of like an endless number. And Mercury in Capricorn can be very scientific. So it's very possible that we're going to be analyzing our bank accounts a little bit more as well. Mercury is very interested in numbers and letters. So accounting centers and all those type of things can be very active with this Mercury position. Mercury, I mean, going back to the sleeping a little bit, it's possible, unfortunately, that you're not gonna be able to sleep as much as you would like. So that's another possibility. Mercury is kind of like a storyteller. So imagine with being in the sign of Capricorn, who are the older people, that we gather around a like a fire camp, and we listen to stories, and it becomes very fascinating. That's also actually possible. So it's kind of exciting. Now in 2022, 4th of February, Mercury will go direct in the sign of Capricorn, because it's going to be retrograde from 14th of January in Aquarius. So I recommend watching out what is happening around you in January, February, because that might become very important in 2022 December. Now, one of the reasons why I'd like to mention this, I was teaching this in the Mercury retrograde class, that Mercury has got this 11-month cycle. So it tends to be bringing certain type of issues from 11 months before. So this January, February is going to be having a repetition in 2022 December and January overall. And also, it's very possible that somehow 2021 February will repeat altogether. Now, Mercury is learning abilities in the sign of Capricorn, because that's one of the things which Mercury represents. So Mercury in the sign of Capricorn needs a step-by-step guide. So it's very methodical. Mercury here learns by example. So it's not necessarily about, I'm going to be reading a book. I kind of need to be practical about it. I need to see how to do that. Once it is shown to me, then I can actually follow anything. Or maybe it needs to be shown by someone I respect, or an authority figure, because Mercury in Capricorn likes looking up to people. It wants to be actually respecting someone. So I want the best professor to teach me, because that actually boosts my self-esteem overall. And Mercury in Capricorn learns by repetition. I have to do it over and over again. And then once I have managed to actually master that skill, no problem. I can do that without any type of supervision. But then I don't want to be supervised all the time because I've already mastered that skill. And Capricorn is all about mastering certain type of abilities. Probably Mercury in Capricorn likes taking notes, and those notes needs to be structured. Now, one of the reasons why I can talk about Mercury in Capricorn quite a lot, because I have got this placement. And I remember when I was at school, what I did was that I took notes. I took notes very, very quickly. And then I went home and then I organized those thoughts, and then I used different type of coloring pencils to highlight this and that. And then once I didn't like those notes, maybe a few months later, then I really redid them again. So there is this repeating type of element with Mercury in Capricorn. Definitely practical knowledge, and the Mercury wants to see the process here, how it is actually done. Probably Mercury in Capricorn likes studying about certain things which they are interested in. If something which is actually far away from me, then maybe I don't want to be actually learning about that. It is all about focusing on planning. Typically, these are business people. These are actually about timing. So I'll give you an example. For instance, if you have got a social media channel, then it might be about, you know what, I'm going to be timely. I'm going to be very timely. And then I'm going to be posting on Mondays, I don't know, weekly forecasts, or on Thursdays, I'm going to be posting about sign changes and so forth. So kind of like having a schedule and running a business like that for Mercury in Capricorn could be very important. It might be about working with very competent people. Mercury in Capricorn loves doing plenty of research. They prepare a lot because they want to look like an authority figure overall. They want to be appearing as a wise, knowledgeable person. But on the negative side, Mercury in Capricorn can be judgmental, critical to others as well. Just because, you know, they know how much they like preparing for certain things. And when something is a little bit superficial, not necessarily quality, Capricorn, then Mercury start thinking, right? So yeah, it can be critical and judgmental overall. I usually also say that Mercury in Capricorn is like the wise toddlers. So like a toddler who is trapped in a wise old body overall. They tend to be growing up quite quickly, or they have to be responsible at an early age overall, or they might like connecting with older people as well as young kids. Definitely, it's a position where Mercury likes thinking deep. It's about analyzing reality, wanting to know the facts overall. These people tend to be very hard on themselves, very critical towards themselves also. Therefore, they can be brilliant critics. Mercury in Capricorn, either they are discriminated at a young age, or somehow they are going to be interested in this discrimination overall later on. Now, from a child's perspective, it could actually indicate that, yeah, these kids are very hardworking when it comes to studying. But if you fear that your child is actually misbehaving, you might want to be looking at their Saturn as the dispositor of Capricorn, Mercury, sorry. And if Saturn is a little bit badly placed, then it could indicate that unfortunately these kids are only going to be learning from strictness or some type of discipline, or in a sense being motivated. You know what? You can go out once the homework is done type of things. Interesting, because Capricorn talks about inventory as well, and Mercury is something to do with counting. So, and towards the end of the year, most businesses will do inventory on their goods. So there could be some type of surprises there also. Mercury, which is also associated with your humor. Capricorn is quite dry. It has got that irony, kind of sarcastic humor there. So that's possible. And in ancient times, Capricorn ruled death. So something to do with thinking about death is possible. Or even I can imagine, as in Mercury schools, that, you know, like wearing school uniform or wearing a badge, for instance. And these type of things could be a question with this Mercury placement. Now, while Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn, it will make some aspects. On the 19th, it will be squaring Chiron. On the 20th, it will trine Uranus. On the 26th, it will sextile Neptune. On the 29th, it will actually conjunct Venus. And on the 30th, it will conjunct Pluto. Now, if you would like to learn more about Mercury's aspects, then I offer a monthly subscription plan, which includes about 5 videos, 1 monthly video, and 4 or 5 weekly videos. And then I send those out of every Saturday or Sunday, where I break down all the aspects of each planet. And that's the tier 1 subscription plan on my website, AstroViktor.com. And that's £5 for a month. So hope to see you there. Thank you for joining for this video. And I see you very soon. Bye-bye.